All right, back live, and we encourage you to call in if you got some questions. 656-2255. You may have a story to tell. We really don't want to mention any names of any particular judges, um, but I know there's some people out there that have had problems, kind of what we're talking about, because I've had a lot of calls off the air inquiring as to how certain things happen. And best advice I can give them is no advice. Because I say, I want to give you some advice and you act on it. You need to talk to somebody's attorney
Right.
that you trust and you deal with.
Well, the problem is if you give legal advice, like I can't give legal advice as an ADA advocate. I can look at the entire case and show what appears to be wrong and what looks wrong with it, and investigate in those directions, because they would love to get anybody for practicing law without a license.
I had that happen to me one time. It was really funny. And I've been doing this for a long time for the law firm that I worked with. And the chief of police stood up in court and said, Judge, he's not a lawyer. This is legal stuff. The judge looked and said, yeah, it is. He said, well, he's practicing law without a license. He said, yeah, he is. But the attorney spoke up and said, Judge, I had no idea. It was a subpoena of Dukas Teekman. And I used to do all those for him. And that's a very, very handy tool to,
Yeah.
if you really want to get into a case, because pretty much a judge gives you whatever you listen. He gives a signature on that thing. It's a blank. I mean, it gives you whatever you're listening. You can get in all kinds of stuff.
Well, not anymore. The
You
judges
can't?
are quashing them.
Are they?
Yeah, the lawyers for the opposing side a lot of time will put in a motion to have it quashed. And if you're on the wrong side of the judge,
It
you
gets
don't get
quashed.
it. They get quashed. In fact, a judge will even change a court date so that the other side can get in a motion if they haven't yet. They'll call judges' chambers and sit, the judge will see what needs to be done and allow
Wow.
a little bit more time so the opposing side can,
React to it.
Mhm.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
that's a pretty powerful tool.
it is.
Good evening.
This is Charles.
Yeah.
One of the things that we have around here with judges um, is, and I've seen this where attorneys, if they don't like the judge for the day, that they'll get sick and all kind of things. Anything to that? I mean, basically, I've heard an attorney say is, if I don't think I'm getting the right judge, I'm gonna get sick.
Right, because there are some judges, and I always say you should go back to the Cash for Kids, where the judges had some ownership in the private jails. And so they knew there was going to be jail time, or they knew there wasn't going to be bail given, or it was going to be above more than what somebody could afford. So I think you're correct on that.
Right. I saw another situation where someone in public office brought a case against someone, and then they made sure it was a religious situation, and they picked a religious judge who was a preacher too.
The appearance of justice is just as bad as no justice at all. So, a judge is supposed to appear and
The people inside the system can set it up to what they want.
yes, they can.
Especially if you got any influence on these folks, and they seem to be able to know what day to pick and all kind of things. It just seems you have to watch that, and that's the things I've seen. It's the people behind the scenes that can affect things.
It's called breakfast, lunch, dinner, weekend getaway, sex, friendship, whatever it is that lawyer can give the judge to get the case to go the direction that he wants it.
I don't think there's a lot like money transferred, but just favors, right? I mean, it's a favor system.
No, well, you could say that in one of my cases, when my judge retired, he had a portrait done, and the attorneys that were involved donated close to $60,000 towards the portrait as a thank you. I consider that cash.
Right.
And that was published in the newspaper. It was published in the different bar newspapers, so it's something I can show you. So to me, that was a payoff. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
And that judge still shows up, even though he's retired, and he's got his big picture up there.
But I mean, one of the things, I mean, I think your stuff you're talking about is interesting, but it doesn't seem like the public has a lot of hope in changing this stuff. It's like, do we have to put up with this?
We need more people to stand up and speak out. The problem is the retaliation and retribution can be so bad. If it's in a divorce case, it could be you lose your children, or you lose the right to see your children, for men or for women. So it's something that they control you emotionally so badly that you can't stand up and speak out till much later, and that's got to stop. The other thing is the judicial complaints. When you file them, they tell you you're not allowed to disclose them. So all that's secret. Now, there's certain ways, I disclose everything, but the problem is it's such a secret society. And
when you came on last week, we did have a request for video. No, we don't give out videos anymore. But is there kind of like an air that follows you? The people, like, she's in town. Is that a sense of that from a little bit from last week's show?
I have an issue with my phone getting scrambled.
Okay.
So if I'm using my phone, all of my computers are hacked. People know where I'm going. There are people watching me all times.
Wow.
And
Who fears you the most?
I was in the hospital twice in the last 2 years for being poisoned. And I think there was one other time that I was poisoned.
Wow. Who would fear you the most? The judges or the what?
I think it's their surrogates. I think the judges put out the something needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And I think their surrogates take care of it for them. There are, I think I stated in the last one time, murder for hire is something that is active in this realm,
Mm-hmm.
and it's covered up. So it's, for me, I believe that God put me on this path. Is it a
At
path?
what point do you get scared?
I'm sorry, what?
At what point do you get scared?
When I get an email with a warning. I've gotten emails with warnings before.
Saying what? What are they warning you about?
Basically, it'll be a nondescript email, but I know which emails that I shouldn't be getting, and and I'll just know something's going to happen. And the last one I got was the time I was poisoned and I was in the hospital for 4 days. And so, I mean, it can be a lot of different things, and they're sometimes from the same people who were hired to harm me, and who, once they met me, they couldn't do it. So I know for a fact there are a lot of people who don't want me around that are very powerful. I believe that there's somebody out there, though, that is, holding them back. So.
How about in this area? Would there be anybody in this area that?
This area, my phone gets scrambled quite often, and I get lost and going in the wrong direction. And all of a sudden, there's somebody that I wouldn't expect to see there. So I do think that.
You said the obituary got taken down?
Yes. So as an ADA advocate, I put an obituary up, and last week I discussed it. I talked about the fact that the obituary had been taken down. I talked about the fact that we went through the whole month to show that it had been taken down. So that next morning, I went over to the Martinsville paper and discussed it with them. And as I'm an ADA advocate, but I also have a press pass, and I believe in telling the untold stories, the stories like mine that the press will never do. And I was told that they took it down because a complaint was made by a family member, and couldn't I read the obituary and see that there was an issue with it? And I said, well, paid for it. It was approved
You paid
by
for
you
it?
all. I paid for it.
Okay.
And I said it was approved by you all, and she goes, well, it should have been a memorial. And I was able to show her where when we sent it in as a memorial because the woman had been, passed so long ago. And they had decided to make it an obit and to make it an obituary.
Okay.
And so basically I stated to him, I have a press pass also. I understand freedom of speech. And when I pay for an ad, I pay for whatever, that square is mine. And they don't have to like what I say in it. If they've agreed to do that, and they've agreed that it would be on their website, because I wanted it in Legacy, where you can go and you can put a little story and you can tell something, or I wanted it, and they said, well, we don't do Legacy, because we keep it on our own site for life. Well, that life was maybe a week. 5 days,
You give
6
your money
days.
back, or
No, not yet. No, nothing. And it's, to me, it's not the money. I don't look at it as I didn't get what I paid for. This was a freedom of speech thing, and
did they tell you who complained?
it appeared to be the woman's daughter, and she appears to have used a power of attorney, stating but when someone dies, you lose the right to that power of attorney. So it's very questionable.
Well, Bob, I know these shows that get people get a little antsy by calling in, but the phone lines are open to get your calls in. I know a lot of people have questions about the judicial system. We have a female judge in town. I'm not going to give her name.
Uh-huh.
We get lots of complaints about her, and more than most judges. And a lot of times people feel like that she discriminates against men.
So one of the things people have to understand, it's illegal to jail someone for money. And a lot of times the judges, when you get into this, they'll say that
Like child support.
child support. Okay, that's illegal to jail somebody for money. Now, I was jailed for $8,100 in legal fees. And I want to read to you, if I can find it here, let's see, what the habeas corpus that I used and in my complaint, because it, and here again, I was pro se. Let's see here, sorry, it'll just take me a minute to find it. I didn't, let's see. But what people have to understand is it is illegal to jail you over money, even if it's, now I know some laws have been written in order to do that. So the law is very clear, that my judge's actions have turned back time, giving me less rights than a slave, taking someone under Title 42, List Code 1994, and Title 18, U.S. Code 1581A. Whoever holds or returns any person to a condition of peonage shall be fined under the title for imprisonment or imprisoned not more than 20 years or both. That on October 22nd, 2014, I was placed in jail for failure to pay legal fees in 30 days, which is a violation of my 13th Amendment. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the parties shall have duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any subject to their jurisdiction. Furthermore, the right by placing me under a state of peonage / involuntary servitude, violating the Fourth Amendment right by malicious prosecution, false imprisonment, and unconstitutional arrest. The violation of my Eighth Amendment right as to excess bail, which in this case constitutes restitution bail, which further shows the knowledge, malicious intent to silence me till the election was over on November 4th, 2014. Bias, retaliation, and retribution to further line the lawyer's pockets by a judge. Further, the system is one where the lawyers and judges have set it up to protect each other and line each other's pockets with cash. So basically, it's a violation of our constitutional rights. And when they put you back, I mean, they make you a slave. But not only that, there are no winners. There are no winners in
How
divorce.
about when we have real deadbeat dads that don't want to?
Well, then you can garnish their salaries. There are ways to get the money. But if he's not working, you're never going to get the money. Or you put him in a halfway house where he has to go to work during the day and then come back to the house at night. And he's not allowed to go out to a bar and drink or anything
But
like
this
that.
happens on a regular basis here, and that people get put in jail for not paying the child support.
Right.
But you say that's a violation of law itself.
I believe it is. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not practicing law here. But the appearance is, yes, I don't believe in that. And that's just the thing. My ex-husband put me in jail. And when he violated it and the judge gave me the option of putting him in jail, I didn't do that.
Yeah, you
I
guys
don't-
talk anymore?
Huh?
Do you talk with your ex-husband anymore?
Oh, no, he hates me.
He hates you.
I mean, I haven't talked to him in years. Basically, I was given sole custody of the kids, and at one point, but I haven't been given a property settlement yet, and there's a lot of money
How long
owed.
has this been going on?
He left in '97, and I was divorced in 2000, and is it 30 years. 30 years.
And the kids
No.
now, they're
Oh, my daughters are amazing. Yeah, they're good. They're good. I mean, I stepped up to the plate and.
did
whatnot.
they pick sides? The kids?
I'm sorry, what?
Do the kids take sides? Because sometimes they do in these divorce things.
Well, they really didn't have a choice. He didn't want a visitation schedule at that time, so it's a very sad situation. I'd rather
I got you. Too private.
not.
I got you.
Yeah, that's pretty private. Sorry, I talk about a lot, but they deserve the freedom of,
Did they end up staying with you or him?
Oh, they were with me. I had sole custody.
I got you. All right.
So, yeah, no, I had sole custody, and I kept him in a private school. And our situation was also the combination of the fact that I was Catholic. I raised the girls Catholic. He was Jewish, and they wanted
Wow.
nothing to
A lot
do.
of issues. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that was an issue we had established prior to even getting married. But my ex-mother-in-law, who's a divorce lawyer, stated to me, we had nothing to do with you or the kids because you raised them Catholic. And they did a blog on me about it. They did the emails, if you were to see them, which I have no problem sharing with you, and you can find on my website and online. I've put them out there because they're so bad.
Stick to it. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. Let's keep a line up here. And see, folks, I know people not all 100% satisfied with the judges around here.
That's for sure.
Okay. All right.
So give us a call, folks, 656-2255. One thing I want to ask you, you say you were poisoned twice. What kind, did they find out what the poison was?
No. No. Mm-mm. One of them was a mushroom, though, in a restaurant.
A mushroom.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Because the restaurant owner, he was nervous and admitted to it. So.
Wow. Did he get charged or anything?
No. The police in our area have been told never to take a report from me. So even when I was in the hospital, I mean, they checked on a regular basis to make sure I felt safe, but didn't. Nope.
I got a little story to tell you about my situation when I was poisoned.
Okay.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.